Hello and welcome to the Talanta Eye, where we talk about issues making headlines and making it into newspapers. That is basically walking you through the newspapers and some of the things that you miss or perspectives of issues that you have not seen as you go through your news. So I was going through today's papers, and the Daily Nation and the Standard seem to carry a similar heading, because all eyes right now are on the NASA coalition, with Raila going to the Supreme Court to petition the election results. Now, it may be interesting that there's a lot of mambo jumbo about it, and right now everyone is trying to find out what will happen. Will this be another 2013 kind of case where we follow the proceedings live, or will they be closed door this time? And then you can see that this time he's going to court with 6 claims. And key among them are that there's some fake polling stations, there's alleged switching of vote numbers between the candidates, the unavailability of the now famous forms 34A and 34B, and then he cited a consistent 11% gap between Jubilee and NASA, excess voters in polling stations, and alleged hacking. But that's not what got people talking all of last night and today morning, because everyone has been fixated on one of his statements that he put out very strongly yesterday. He talked about vifaranga via computer and vifaranga via kuku. Now that spun out in the true Kenyan fashion. Kenyans on Twitter decided to have a ball with it, and as you see in these tweets, you can see a lot of people talking about the vifaranga via computer, making joke or making light of the situation, and some of them even questioning vifaranga via kuku. Do we have vifaranga via aina vingine? It's very funny how Kenyans will always find a light side to things and how to look through it. But anyway, all we can do with this is a court matter, so all we can do is wait and see how that will result or how that will go. Now, I was going through the paper, and most of what's there today is just political, but that did not stop me from citing some very interesting news stories. It was very interesting to note that the Masai Mara was not affected, or rather the tourism. I'd like to think that what happened with Masai Mara reflects tourism in the country, because there's a story of how all the lodges and hotels in the Masai Mara were overbooked, and that's a very interesting story, because we'd expect that with how businesses went on a slow tangent during that election period, that tourism would have been affected. In fact, we have also, in a recent study, we've also emerged as one of the third most preferred travel destination for high net worth individuals. If you were with us on Monday, you remember that we talked about Kenya having a large number of high net worth individuals. I mean, we have a lot of dollar millionaires and dollar multimillionaires, and we gave the statistics on that. But it's very positive to see that all this is not affecting our tourism, which is actually our major revenue earner as a country. And I'd like to think that even if we are seeing a lot of international tourists coming in, we should be able to also boost it with domestic tourism. Take the challenge. Tembea Kenya. What part of Kenya have you seen? What part of Kenya have you not seen? So you should be able to be in a position to look through that. Now, the paper today, as I have mentioned, is very political, but that does not stop us from celebrating the wins that we have, the few wins that we have in the country. Now, it would be interesting to note that journalists who are watchdogs in our society also decided to go and play politics, now change things from the inside. And we can see there's a total of 9 journalists. I don't know if there's more. Perhaps there's been more, because we might have other journalists who are not in active duty but are journalists by profession. But according to the Nation newspaper, there are 9 journalists who got elective seats in the polls, and even one managed to clinch a governor's seat. The Taita Taveta governor is Mr. Granton Samboja, who was a former Media Max Network chairman. Now, Media Max Network owns the K24 television station, the People Daily paper, and Milele FM, amongst other radio stations. So there was one elected governor who was a former journalist. We have 2 who will now be sitting in the Senate. Then we have 2 women reps and 4 National Assembly members. We hope that when they get into these elective positions, that they will have the voice of the citizens at heart. They will have the interest, and they will keep all the other members of parliaments in check. because we would like to see the tide of our politics taking a different turn and changing for the better, because they have been able to effect change from the outside, but now that we have some of them in the inside, it should be very interesting to see what this is. You can also let us know what you think about journalists, getting into the political realms. Is it something that is you think is right, or are they going against their profession? We'll talk about that and much more, and we'll be able to see your feedback as we come back from our break. We take a short break. Do stay with us, and we can talk some more news as we get back.
Audio Jungle.
Talanta Institute is the center of excellence, offering practical training in media studies, digital marketing, music studies, DJing, performing arts, hospitality, ICT, and computer studies. For more information, call us on 0734 777778 or visit our website at www.talanta.global. Talanta Institute, unveiling champions.
Welcome back to the Talanta Eye. We are still looking at the news hitting your newspapers and news forming discussions all around the country, in our country. And earlier on, we've briefed ourselves about a few of the issues, and we'll continue to do the same in this second segment. Don't forget that our question for today is, do you think journalists should join the political game, seeing as we've already had at least 9 of them secure elective posts? And what does that say for them in terms of their role as a watchdog, or what should they do differently? Now, I'll take you to a story which I had mentioned earlier this week in one of our installments, and that's about the WhatsApp incitement. Now, in Malindi, we had the first ever arrest based on WhatsApp. So WhatsApp admins, now it's no longer a freehold ballpark. So you have to really think about what you post before you find yourself behind bars. Now, the WhatsApp admin of the group that was alleged to peddle incitement news is still being held in custody, and there's still a pending court case for him. So he might even be there. He might even be in holding for long. But this opens up a whole discussion about where we are at cyber laws, because even as it is, we don't have very definitive cyber laws. Cyberbullying is going out of hand, but you don't have any legal measures that you can take against people who are cyberbullying. So I think there is the need for, even as we go forward, there is the need to have the discussion on how to formulate and strengthen cyber laws so that people don't fall victims into all the things that we are doing online, because online has become a very unregulated space, and that can be very dangerous moving forward. Now, I'll take you to a very interesting fact that I learned today. Until today, I didn't know that we have a rent tribunal in the city. Yes, you heard me right. We have a rent tribunal. Apparently, now, the norm is that you and your landlord quarrel over a lot of these disputes, rent affairs. They even lock you out if you've not paid in time, or several other things. They'll cut off your water. There's so many stories that we hear of landlord-tenant conflict. So there is a Did You Know segment. It's not really a Did You Know segment, but it's an awakening of what we need to know. There is actually a rent tribunal. So the next time you have an issue with your landlord, you might not want to handle it by yourself. You might want to take it to a legal authority. If you fail, you're being unfairly victimized. But that does not mean that you default on your role and on your duty to pay your bills. Now, the Sonko team is up and running. It's very good to see that Sonko is on the ground and he's running. He's doing his bidding and he's doing his work even before he's sworn in. Just the other day, we had a tweet making rounds about him allowing photographers to capture the beauty of our city. I mean, previously photographers have been victimized, especially by the city council. I would know this because I have been a victim of that, and it's a good thing that he's allowing creatives to run free. But what's very important about the Sonko team is that they have started to clean out the streets in terms of the posters. it's never a good sight after the election or even during the campaign period, because we have so many posters that litter our streets, but so often we don't see anyone taking the initiative to take them out. It's commendable that candidates such as the Starehe MP aspirant, Mr. Boniface Mwangi, who lost, spearheaded his team. He actually started off the whole campaign to take down your posters, and we had a few others who took down their posters, but for most it's still not something that they are willing to do. But it's a good thing that Sonko has taken this. It's an initiative to clean our streets. Now, it has also opened up opportunities for about 1,000 youth, because he has employed about 1,000 youth all over the town who are taking down the posters. And if you see them taking down the posters in your hood, I mean, it's only good that you help them. Help them clean your streets. Help them clean our city. Let's be able to have a city that we can be really proud of in terms of how it looks at. I'd like to jump to a story that was in the Daily Nation, which really caught my eye as I was coming here this morning, and it's about the business complex that's to be built at Garden City. Garden City Mall is one of the biggest malls in our country, and for long they've had an unoccupied space. There's residential projects that have come up in terms of apartments, there's the mall, but there's a space that has yet to be used, and it was cordoned off quite some while. I mean, until recently, and I saw this in the paper, I didn't know that was meant for a business complex. So there's a 2.7 billion business complex that's going to be in development at Garden City starting November. So this should be interesting because it will open up the area for businesses, and it will also create a good working environment for us all through. I'd like to jump right to the sports section before we run out of time to go through this, because Asbel Kiprop, we know him, he's been a champion before, he has done a lot despite his dismal performance in the London IAAF World Championships, where he ranked 9 out of 12 in the 1,500 meter races. Yesterday he made an announcement that he's going to shift to 5,000 meter racing, and perhaps maybe the long distance races don't require as much energy at first, like the shorter distances. So maybe he thinks it's time for him to go to a challenge that might be befitting to him, so that he can at least conquer new ways. And it's good to see someone reinvent themselves, because we can only do better by reinventing ourselves. There's a lot more that's covered in our newspapers, which is not political, because we'd like to look at more that's happening in our country, not just the politics that surrounds us. So it's very important for you to engage with us. Let us know some of the stories that caught your eye, some of the things that you would like to spark a discussion out of, and give your opinion on some of the issues that we have outlined today. Until tomorrow, I've been yours, Edwin Korea, and this is the Talanta Eye.
Audio Jungle.